Oh, I need to just.
Hello. Here.
Hi.
Okie dokie.
Hello, hi. How are
Uh,
you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes. And you must be excited because you're off to IATEFL in a couple of days.
Yeah, yep, I am. Yeah, we're recording this 2 days before the main conference starts.
Ah, yeah, of course,
PCAs.
because there's the PCE
There's PCAs
conference.
before that. Yeah. No, I won't be there for there in person at least for PCA. There's a couple of hybrid ones, so
Ooh,
might.
pretty good, pretty good. Well, I mean, have a nice swig of your tea as well. What you on today, tea wise?
Sorry. What am I on today? I'm finishing off cream egg that I had for.
It's lasted, it's lasted. Yeah, I can't say that appeals to me. I'm on apple and cinnamon. Just been
Right. It doesn't taste of cream eggs, honestly. It tastes of tea. That's it. It's okay. Oh,
so today, because you're going to head off to IATEFL,
yeah.
we thought we would chat about our top conference tips. And one of mine, which I have to admit, didn't fail at miserably when I was at TESOL Spain, but staying hydrated,
Ah, yeah.
making sure, because it's a long day. And even though I
It's a
have my
long
water
day.
bottle, my refillable water
Yeah,
bottle,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that's one
I
of my
think stay
top tips.
hydrated, have some kind of cough sweet, boiled sweet,
Mm,
anything, because sometimes the conference rooms can have heaters or air conditioning or
yeah,
your neighbor can start coughing, whatever. So,
yeah. Layers as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because you could be in
Comfortable
a room.
footwear.
I've got to give a shout out to poor Adriana Coto, who is TESOL Spain's fabulous community manager. But her shoe, she traveled down from Asturias for the TESOL Spain convention, and her shoe, like the sole broke on the first day, and she wore those shoes all weekend, and she was running around everywhere. So, Adriana, you deserve a huge round of applause for surviving that
And
weekend.
I know how she feels because at IATEFL in Brighton, some years ago, not long after we started Eve, the sole of my shoe fell off, and I had to go and find. I think it was in reception in the conference area. They gave me gaffer tape, and I spent most of the conference with my shoes with gaffer tape around one of my shoes. Yeah, I had these boots, like not DMs, but that style of boot, gaffer tape around it. So
Wow.
yeah, definitely comfortable shoes and two pairs of them, not just one, just in case.
Yep, yep, definitely, definitely. Yeah, so I mean, any other top tips? Because obviously, I mean, TESOL Spain was a big event. We had about
Mm.
150 speakers, I think, but IATEFL, it's longer, there's a lot more. How do you kind of approach an event like that?
Well, IATEFL produce an app for as a program, and I never use it. And that sounds very strange, but I find that there is so much. So if I start looking at the app or start, when it was a paper copy, it's too overwhelming.
Hmm.
So you can usually get like a minimal one that kind of gives you an overview of each day. So I'll use that, and if it's paper, I'll rip out the page and just have that one page in my pocket. Um, so that's one thing. I also follow little strategies like I'll do one day of going to see L2 speaker presenters, and then one day of going to see L1 speaker presenters, and that reduces the cognitive load of decisions. I will tend to go to see people that I've never seen speak before.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes obviously I'll go and speak, support whatever friends as well, but I rarely go to the really well-known people. See what I mean? It'd be friends of mine or people I've maybe seen their name around but haven't heard them speak before, or people that I've never heard of and never seen before.
Yeah.
And I think that's a way of one, reducing the choice, and two, increasing the audience numbers for the slightly lesser known. I've seen some really, really good stuff like that.
Mhm, mhm,
Not last year, 2 years ago, last time it was in Brighton, I ended up in this room. It was a Friday. It was the room, the furthest away to get to, the one that had a lift that comes into the middle of the room. And I went to see a talk. And there were seven of us at it, and it was great. It
mhm,
was really good. And it was a new speaker, and she was really, really good. And, she felt really sort of sad that there were only seven, but I was saying, no, don't worry, your feedback's going to be good.
mhm,
So
mhm.
you'll probably get a better room next time, and
Yeah.
word will spread. And yeah,
I mean, I think is that is one of the challenges for people organizing a convention is that you want to give people the opportunity to speak. But at the end of the day, you can't control who the audience is going to choose to go and see.
yeah, yeah.
And so I think that idea of, seeing people that you don't know, it could be a risk. But at the same time, it could be something amazing. Um,
Yeah, but I think, for lots of people, it's something like IATEFL, particularly, perhaps more so than TESOL Spain. There's going to be a significant number of audience members who don't often have access to big conferences and stuff. People who've traveled from a long way, and so they haven't managed to see certain names before.
mhm, mhm,
I'm trying to think, who can I think of that would go? Whether it's Sarah Moser or Hugh Deller, or we were talking about Paul Seligson earlier. Um, and maybe they've always heard these names, and like, this is the big chance to go and see these people. Great. But if you're a person like me who goes around lots of conferences, and then I probably won't go to see those people. I'll go to see somebody who might have a smaller audience, just to, support that person. And that sounds a bit patronizing, but I think it's like the new voices or gems that you don't need to always go to see the people that you'll see at other conferences.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
Like Sarah, I just said Sarah Moser. I absolutely love Sarah Moser's talks, but I know that I'll have other opportunities to see her. So I would, if it was between, say, Sarah and somebody who I'd never heard of, but the title looked interesting, or I'd go to see the other person because there will be another chance to see Sarah, whereas this person
Yeah.
there might not.
Yeah.
Um, and I think IATEFL is quite scary for new speakers and for lesser known people. And I mean, it's quite scary for anybody, really. It's so huge. But as a speaker, there's something sort of psychological about speaking at IATEFL. So I think that's another reason for going to see somebody a bit, lesser well known, somebody who's not all over LinkedIn, for example. Um, who's got, because if people who are well known or even on LinkedIn, they're going to have more audience, I think, than people who are not, on social media so much. So that's another way. And for me, just to do myself a favor and reduce all the choice, because it's a really good conference in that sense, but it's almost too much choice. So to kind
Yeah.
of eliminate some of the names from the decision making process, yeah, basically I'll do that. How
Yeah.
about you? How would you choose if you were to go to, I don't know, TESOL in the States or something, one of these big ones? How would you choose? How would you go about it?
Well, I mean, even just for TESOL Spain, which was 3 days, I kind of looked at the program ahead of time and chosen pretty much for all the sessions
Hmm.
who I wanted to see. Um, and interestingly, so for TESOL Spain, the plenaries and the keynotes are recorded. So Richard Chin was doing his keynote on emergent language. I was like, got to see that. But it was recorded. So at the same
Yeah.
time, there was Uma Tash, who came all the way from Turkey, and she did this fantastic session on it was a reflective session, which was what I was talking about as well. So I was like, right, I've got to go and see that. And I'm so glad I did, because Richard's now I've been able to catch up on, sitting here in my little box.
Yeah.
but that one I wouldn't have had the opportunity to see that again. You know, she might come again to Spain when we're in Madrid next year, but the chances of us coinciding, I think, at another conference somewhere are so minimal, and she might not even do the same session. So,
Yeah, this is it. So it's a similar strategy to me, yeah. The
hmm.
recording of things um is somehow positive and negative at the same time. I think it's positive for the audience. It could be negative for the speaker because you do get fewer people in the room
Yeah,
because they're going to watch you later. But still, I think generally speaking, it's a good thing, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I know obviously you're going to come away from IATEFL with phew, lots of ideas. But so one thing I went to see Jess, and one of the points that she made was,
Jess Mackay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I should
Right.
just name dropping there. Went to see Jess. Um, uh, the idea of this kind of use it or lose it. So, she said, you're here for the weekend, you're going to hear lots of different sessions, but unless you kind of actually do something with it, whether that's using it in the classroom next week or writing a blog post about your ideas or posting on LinkedIn. So I took that very much to heart, and I saw a fantastic activity from Daniel Brint, which I have posted about back a while ago on both on LinkedIn and on Instagram about using artworks in the lesson. And so I did it, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I do these advanced grammar classes. And so I used it with them and kind of had these artworks, and they had to
Mhm.
make sentences with reporting verbs about what the characters in the artworks were thinking.
Oh,
Um,
yes, I saw the posts. Yeah. And then you had, like, is it this picture, this picture? So they had to read the sentence and guess which picture. Is that right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
I saw it. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
it. I remember
yeah.
seeing that.
So
Yeah.
Daniel said he does it as a kind of a gallery walk in the classroom. First of all,
Mm.
students are up there moving around, writing sentences,
Hmm.
and then they give their sentences to a partner, and then the partner goes around and kind of matches them. I just thought that was such a lovely idea, and so yes, and now because I've done it and because I've written about it, it's gonna stick, I think,
It's
much
gonna
more.
stick, yeah. I'm gonna do something that I used to do and I hadn't done for a bit. And well, I'll tell you what it is and I'll tell you why I'm gonna do it again. I used to journal a bit when I went to conferences. I would take like a little, those little Moleskine books,
Hmm.
little like mini notebooks about that size.
Yep.
And I'd sit and at the end of sessions, just kind of sit by myself and jot down like like a summary, but also if there were any activities that really stood out, I'd write it down. And the idea being that I would then use them the following week. But generally, what happened was that notebook got put away when I got home. But not long ago, I found a couple of the notebooks from and went through, and it was like, "Oh, I could do that this week."
Mm,
And then so I think that kind of journaling is handy because even if you lose a notebook, you'll find it again and you'll come back to those activities in the future
yeah.
rather than just the the notebooks that you often get in the canvas bag,
Which we love. We
the
love a
one
bit of
from
conference swag.
exactly, which are nice, but those notebooks, for some reason those because of all the branding and stuff, I often use those in class. I take them into class and I use them as like spare paper, and they sit in the middle of the desk. And my students, if they need paper, they
Mm,
tear out a page of, I don't know, Penguin or CUP or whatever it is, notepad. Um, But there's something about those notebooks that they're not ones I'm going to necessarily
hmm.
keep, or I think it's just the format of the notebook. But the Moleskine type ones, the little ones, I always hang on to those and they'll get tucked away when I come back to them. So journaling stuff as well, which is another way of keep it or lose it.
Yep. Yep.
But even if it's 3, 4, 5, 6 years later that you come back to it,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think reflecting on what you've seen because there's such an overload of
Yeah.
information. And there's a tendency, particularly something like IATEFL, there's a lot of running around. So I always schedule in some free time and get off site and go away and away from all the people and just sit down, take a notebook, write a story or have a think about stuff. I will definitely be thinking about a friend of mine while I'm there because it's the first one that he's missed. So particularly on the Friday, this Friday, I'll be there. So I'll be doing some time alone on that, but I'll be using it to reflect on the stuff
Mhm.
that I've seen and learned. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
another tip for IATEFL, sorry,
no, 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 no. Go ahead.
is just not to try to do too much because you get a bit overstimulated with all the
Yeah.
and not trying to see too many friends. There's always a rush to say, oh, I'll have coffee with this person, and no, and then every conversation just comes down to a little bite-sized conversation, and it feels frustrating if you do it that way. So I think
Hmm.
keeping expectations low or arranging to spend one evening with just one person
Hmm.
rather than rushing around all the parties and stuff.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's mentally and emotionally exhausting.
Oof, it is. My social battery is drained when I come back from a conference.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think self time as well is quite important at
yeah,
these events.
yeah. So hydrate, wear good shoes,
Yes.
have some time for yourself,
Be sensible about the program.
be sensible about the program.
Yeah, or have a strategy rather than just picking it up at breakfast and the morning go, oh, what should I see today? Because
I recognize that name.
exactly, yeah. Support lesser known speakers.
Yes, yes.
Take me time, look after yourself, reflect,
Talking
use the
about,
new stuff.
well, going back to your first time speakers, do you remember your first conference presentation?
Yes,
And what were you talking about?
pronunciation.
Mm, fantastic. Can you
Yeah,
remember any of the
first
activities?
first proper conference, as it were, rather than small local teachers' day type of thing.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, we did. Let's think. Oh, I did a rap. I do it differently nowadays, but I remember getting my students. This is a long time ago. Getting my students to learn. This is a story all about how my life got
Flip,
turned
turn
upside
upside
down.
down.
Yeah, the Prince of Bel-Air thing. Um, and talking about making films. It was about making pronunciation motivating for teenagers.
Nice.
And I gave it at the University of Cordoba, just a one-off. I was invited to speak there on the back of an article I'd written. And I went to TESOL Spain in Seville. And I think TESOL Spain was my first. I think I remember going to that. I also remember giving a talk at Greta in Granada. So maybe it was Greta. Greta might have been my first, actually. Now I think of
TESOL
it.
Spain was my first, and I
Yeah, I
did.
might have gone to TESOL Spain as an audience member, but I remember Greta particularly because it was just a couple of days before the Twin Towers. So
Oof. Hmm. Yep,
yeah,
yep,
that might have been first. But anyway, it was
yep.
around then.
TESOL
20.
Spain was my first time speaking. Um, and I do remember, so what you said about that, you know, I had images that I was going to be speaking to this room with, thousands of people, and I think I had about eight. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, so managing expectations in that
Oh
respect
gosh,
as well
yeah.
if you're a speaker, which was fine at the end of the day because it was my first time ever speaking. But yeah, I did activities using, I don't know if you ever remember, I think it was an English file. They had these pages of little tiny pencil drawings, stick men, and I had a whole
Oh.
session about activities with that. And I had an OHP and had an overhead projector.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember those. That was really good. I remember using them. I remember having giving a session at TESOL Spain in Madrid. I think it was in Madrid. I don't remember what I was talking about, but I do remember that a friend of mine had photocopied in color onto um, transparencies for me. I lived in the Canaries at this time, and I went with my really like smart transparencies, and then something or other didn't work in the room. Like I think the projector didn't work. Plus, the projector for some reason was kind of in the middle of the room, and everybody was around it, so it was really tricky to actually maneuver these
Oh,
things. And I ended up having to use pen and just like a flip chart or something, and kind of standing at the front going, "Can anybody see what's on this?"
yeah. Mm.
Vague memories of Maslow's pyramid, or hierarchical needs being one of them with the different colors. But
Mhm.
there's projector thing didn't work. And Kath Billsborough was in the room. Didn't really know her, but I think that might have been where I met her. Because she was
Mm.
trying to help me, like holding up stuff for me. So that
Yeah,
must
that.
have been,
Oh,
I would say that must have been like 2002, 2003 at a push. But yeah, that was
mhm.
funny, that one.
Yeah, yeah. And I was just going to say, going back to pronunciation, so another session I saw at TESOL Spain, it was this great activity, Maria Jose Moriones, and she was talking about ED endings, and how, for Spanish speakers, it's a particular problem. And she had this great activity. So we had little cards with the t, d, and id, and we worked in pairs. And there was a person calling verbs, but they also called out actions. So if it was like clap your hands, you clapped your hands, but you didn't do anything. Or if it was touch your nose or something like that. And then the guy, he said, what did he say? Did he say cough or wiggle or something? And we both wiggled instead of grabbing. We were supposed to grab the thing. But yeah, so yeah, again, the memories of
Yeah.
activities, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I was
had
going
a
to say one
fantastic
little
time.
tip,
Oh,
one more
one final
little
tip.
tip, one final tip for new speakers. And I just thought about that while I was talking about the projector. Have a plan B. If you're using any tech, whether it's PowerPoint or any kind of tech at all, have a plan B, just in
Whether
case.
you're a new speaker or very
Or, yeah, it
experienced.
doesn't matter. Always have a plan B. Make sure you can do your session without any assistance. Even if it's handing a piece of paper to the person in the front row and going, can you
Mhm.
just shout this out now and again?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, have a fabulous week at IATEFL.
Thank you.
And maybe not next week, but I'm sure you'll be sharing some ideas that you've picked up once you've kind of had a chance to recover.
Yeah, and to reflect on them. I think this is it. It's that need to reflect and to process stuff before you
Yeah. No.
share. But yeah,
Okay,
will do. Will do.